Seth Meyers. This is Late Night. We hope you're all doing well. And now, if you don't mind, I'm going to get to the news. The U.S. attacked Venezuela over the weekend and captured Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro and his wife. So just as I thought, Trump and I had very different New Year's resolutions. At least he did his. The White House released photos over the weekend showing President Trump watching the U.S. military strikes on Venezuela from a room in Mar-a-Lago. Is that a room? It's just a bunch of black curtains. That looks like where they keep Stephen Miller until the sun goes down. When asked yesterday if he's considering U.S. military operations against Colombia after the capture of Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro, President Trump told reporters, quote, "That sounds good to me." All right, so maybe reporters should stop suggesting stuff to him. President Trump, are you considering launching a nuclear strike against the sun? Yeah, that's a good idea. Thank you. During a press conference over the weekend, President Trump announced that the U.S. military has seized the president of Venezuela and added the U.S. will temporarily, quote, "run the country." What are you talking about? We can't even run our country. We had to invent GoFundMe so people could get root canals. The U.S. trying to run another country is like a coke addict trying to run a rehab center. We're bringing a lot of energy and no relevant experience. The White House recently provided an analysis of President Trump's EKG to the Wall Street Journal, which claimed President Trump's cardiac age is that of a 65-year-old. A 65-year-old dog? And they were like, yeah. You got us. We didn't think you'd ask a follow-up. like a 400-year-old man. While speaking to reporters yesterday aboard Air Force One, President Trump said that Elon Musk is, quote, 80% super genius and 20% he makes mistakes. And frankly, I'm just amazed Trump picked numbers that add up to 100. President Trump hosted a New Year's Eve party last week at Mar-a-Lago featuring a performance from rapper Vanilla Ice. What year were you celebrating? 1990, Happy New Year, everybody. I got you all snap bracelets. While speaking to reporters yesterday on Air Force One, President Trump called Colombian President Gustavo Petro a, quote, sick man who likes making cocaine. And I can't believe I'm saying this, but maybe try some? New York Mayor Zohran Mamdani rode the subway to work on Friday. On his first full day as mayor, said Mamdani, "Sorry I'm late." McDonald's is facing a new federal class action lawsuit that accuses the fast food chain of falsely claiming its McRib sandwich contains real pork rib meat when it's actually made of restructured shoulder, heart, tripe, and scalded stomach. Yeah, but people don't get as excited when you say the McStomach is back. That's right, McDonald's is facing a lawsuit that accuses them of falsely claiming its McRib sandwich contains real pork rib meat. But come on, did anyone really believe it did? I got more bad news for you. These aren't French. And finally, a 535-pound bluefin tuna sold today at auction in Tokyo Fish Market for a record $3.2 million. It's also the first auction ever attended by a wealthy orca. That's exactly what I wanted him to look like. That was a monologue, everybody. Look at us. It's a new year. And we're going to celebrate with a fantastic show for you tonight. She's a terrific actress you've seen in films such as Spencer, Still Alice, and Love's Lies Bleeding. She was also nice enough to go day drinking with me, which made me, as everyone here attests, significantly cooler. Her new movie, which is also her directorial debut, The Chronology of Water, is in theaters this Friday, January 9th. Kristen Stewart is back on the show, everybody. And you know him from shows like Narcos and Dope Thief, as well as films such as Civil War and The Gray Man. He's starring in a terrific film, The Secret Agent, which is in theaters now. Wagner Moura is also joining us. I'm so happy he's here. Before we get to all this, you guys, this is very exciting. Donald Trump made history this weekend by becoming the first ever winner of the FIFA Peace Prize to bomb another country and kidnap its leader. It's the most stunning turn of events since Hannibal Lecter's high school classmates voted him least likely to eat your liver. For more on this, it's time for a closer look. As you may know, the Trump administration has been threatening Venezuela and its president, Nicolas Maduro, for months. In fact, before he dropped the real bombs on Venezuela, Trump dropped an F-bomb.
Maduro offered everything in his country, all the natural resources. He even recorded a message to you in English recently, offering mediation. What should we do in order to stop that?
He has offered everything. He's offered everything. You're right. You know why? Because he doesn't want to around with the United States.
Hey, are you at the White House or a strip club in New Jersey? Who else was at this cabinet meeting? Christopher and Silvio? Hey, T, relax. He's just trying to cooperate, T.
You know, he has offered everything, Tone.
You know, a lot of people say a long winter break and your Sopranos impressions are gonna fall down a notch. Not for this guy. So Trump played tough guy with Maduro, while Maduro responded with a slightly different strategy.
Please.
Dancing at a rally in a red hat, he stole Trump's move. Although Maduro did make some changes. For example, he decided to also dance with his lower body. Trump was probably embarrassed that Maduro had better moves than him, especially considering Maduro's moves aren't good. Being worse than Maduro is like being a breakdancer who finished behind Reagan at the Olympics. I'm just kidding. I don't actually think the president of the United States started a war over a foreign leader's dance moves. That is absurd.
According to the New York Times, they're reporting that the dancing videos really, Nicolas Maduro sort of behaving like he was calling the president's bluff, really acting nonchalantly about these threats. And that was really the last straw for the president, these dancing videos. That's according to that reporting, to where they finally went in to go get him.
Oh my God, we invaded Iraq because of WMDs, and now we invaded Venezuela for WDMs, wicked dance moves. So just to be clear, Trump bombed a country because he was annoyed by a foreign leader's dance moves. Normally, if I'm annoyed by someone's dancing, I just moved to another subway car. I'm sorry, Showtime dancers. I'm just trying to get to work and finish the Wordle in peace. Now, let's see. What is today's Wordle anyway? Ow! And by the way, if you think my use of the word kidnap is harsh, I'm not the only one who thinks it's an accurate description.
Trump did say that the United States is working with Venezuela's Vice President Delcy Rodriguez, who is in that acting role now. But she has pushed back and has called for Maduro's immediate release.
So if you see that pushback from Rodriguez and ultimately...
Well, I don't think there was pushback. I think that...
She called it...
Well, you know, you hear a different person than I hear.
Really? So you have spoken with her?
You talked to them, yeah?
Oh, you did speak.
They've been very good.
Because she called it kidnapping of Maduro.
It's all right. It's not a bad term.
Yeah, no. Yeah, it is. I mean, it might be an accurate term, but it's still a bad term. As a rule, if something is literally the name of a crime, it's a bad term. You never hear anyone use the term kidnapping positively. If you ever ask a couple how they met, you're not psyched if the answer is, let's just say someone did some kidnapping. Of course, the real reason for this illegal act of war remains a mystery. Even the most astute observers remain perplexed as to what could have possibly motivated this attack, given that the Trump administration has played its cards so close to the vest. The reality is we may simply never know why the Trump administration decided to wage war on Venezuela.
Venezuela sits on the largest supply of oil reserves in the world.
When I left, Venezuela was ready to collapse. We would have taken it over. We would have gotten all that oil.
Venezuela, for the American oil companies, will be a field day.
I think there's a very, very good chance that if something happens down in Venezuela, that we could really see oil prices go down even more.
What we're not going to allow is for the oil industry in Venezuela to be controlled by adversaries of the United States.
It means the oil that was taken from us is returned.
Right now, what we want to do is fix up the oil.
Have you spoken with the oil companies about
Yes.
going into Venezuela?
I have.
Which ones? Have you received any commitments?
All of them, basically.
Any commitments from the oil companies?
They want to go in so badly. We're going to have the big oil companies go in. We're going to have presence in Venezuela as it pertains to oil. We'll be selling large amounts of oil to other countries. The oil companies are going to go in. They're going to spend money. We're going to take back the oil. We're in the oil business.
Damn it, I just wish there were clues. It's really just amazing how Trump just undercuts everyone around him and confesses the truth. He's got all his little minions on TV saying this is really about the drug trade or human rights, and then Trump immediately throws them under the bus by saying the word oil over and over again, like the uncle no one listens to on Family Feud. Top 5 answers on the board. Name something you put on a hot dog. Pickles, pickles. Oh, it's got to be mustard. Oil. Well, wait, it's ketchup. It's oil, oil. The answer is oil. Why is no one listening to me? Is it because I got the last one wrong? The category was words that rhyme with cluck, and I said, now. This is usually the point in a closer look where I would set up a long video montage of Trump contradicting himself by insisting during his various campaigns that he was against foreign wars and regime change. But I made a New Year's resolution, and that resolution was to never change, baby. Roll the hypocrisy package.
We're going to stop the reckless and costly policy of regime change overseas. We will abandon the policy of reckless regime change favored by my opponent. Our policy of never-ending war, regime change, and nation building is being replaced by the clear-eyed pursuit of American interests. We believe that the job of the United States military is not to wage endless regime change wars around the globe. We're going to end these endless wars. Our current strategy of nation building and regime change is a proven absolute failure.
I still can't actually believe anyone thought Trump was telling the truth about being anti-war. You really thought Donald Trump, the most thin-skinned, impulsive man on the planet, would suddenly discover the concept of restraint when she gained control of the world's most powerful military. Giving Donald Trump control of the U.S. military is like giving the cast of Real Housewives an open bar and a one free slap coupon. There's gonna be a lot of fighting, a lot of crying, and a lot of really bad dancing. And if you did fall for Trump's BS about ending regime change wars and nation building, I'm sorry to say, I got some bad news for you.
Don't ask me who's in charge because I'll give you an answer and it'll be very controversial.
What does that mean?
That means we're in charge. We are going to run the country.
What's the group you mentioned that would run Venezuela?
Well, it's largely going to be, for a period of time, the people that are standing right behind me. We're going to be running it.
First of all, I'm almost certain Trump has no idea who's standing behind him. He was probably caught off guard by that question. And after he said the people behind me, he was thinking, please be a Venezuelan expert, please be a Venezuelan. Oh, it's Marco Rubio. Also, poor Rubio thought there would maybe be more than one guy behind him. Trump always seems to be in the dark about who's around him at any given moment. He's always asking where people are.
In fact, I'd like to ask Caroline. Where's Caroline? I'd like to ask Caroline a question. Where is she? Can she? Uh-oh. Where's Susie? Susie, come on, Susie. Bryson DeChambeau is up here someplace. What happened to Bryson? Where is he? Bryson. Oh. Bryson.
Bryson! Where are you, Bryson? You're in charge of Venezuela? Somebody tell Caroline to find Bryson. We don't know where Caroline is? What about Susie? We don't know where anyone is? Marco, you in charge? And not only has Trump betrayed his supposed American first principles, he's also surrounded himself with the same old neocons from the Iraq War days.
This is a good thing. This is not interventionism. This is making America safer. This is a good thing, not a bad thing.
This is a good thing, not a bad thing. It's just like that time I told my Meemaw when that big city salesman came around selling musical instruments. He's not a con man, Meemaw. He's starting a band. I'm gonna learn to play the cornet and become a big star. You're stuck serving sarsaparilla to one-eyed horse thieves at the town saloon, you old crone. Did Lindsay not hear how loud Trump was talking? Why did he show up just shouting? So Lindsey Graham is very insistent that this example of regime change is a good thing. And I'm sure he's never been wrong about that before.
I am glad Saddam Hussein's out of power. I'm glad he's dead.
Even though there were no WMD, even though there were no links between Saddam and Al-Qaeda or 9/11, you still think it was a good idea to go to war?
Absolutely. I am glad that the Saddam Hussein regime is over.
You were right, Meemaw. They put me in a montage. Also, side note, how is it possible that 17 years ago, Lindsey Graham looked like a little boy, and now he looks like a little boy played by an old man in a school play? Is that actually gray hair, or is that a wig from a baby senator costume? No one wants this. Polls have consistently shown that most Americans oppose any military intervention in Venezuela, let alone regime change and nation building. And yet, the Trump team isn't stopping there. They're threatening to go after a long list of other countries next.
After the U.S. operation in Venezuela, the wife of Trump official Stephen Miller posted to social media an image of Greenland with an American flag overlaid and the word soon.
By the way, you have to do something with Mexico. Mexico has to get their act together.
The Cuban government is a huge problem. I think they're in a lot of trouble, yes.
Colombia is very sick, too, run by a sick man who likes making cocaine and selling it to the United States. And he's not going to be doing it very long, let me tell you.
So there will be an operation by the U.S. and...
It sounds good to me.
What do you mean it sounds good to you? You're the president. You're talking about bombing another country like a stoner whose roommate just asked if they should order extra pancakes with their mushu pork. Because, like, maybe we could even roll joints in that. Yeah, it sounds good to me. Trump told Americans regime change and nation building was over. Now he's claiming America will run a country of 28 million people that's roughly 2,000 miles away. In one breath, he says he wants to stop the flow of drugs. In another, he pardons a convicted drug trafficker. There's no consistency. It's almost like his main goal is to
around with the United States.
This has been A Closer Look.